All right. So, hey, Performa Nation. This is your host, Felipe Rebelo, your guide down your digital journey. And I'm very happy and excited to be here with you today because this is a special day. This is an inauguration. This is the first episode of Performa Nation, the show where we want to answer questions about product ownership, product development, product design, and all those good stuff connected to digital products. We believe that's a hot topic. We believe that everyone is trying to somehow to build digital products. Maybe it's within an organization, maybe it's a startup, but the point is digital products are revolutionizing the world and we need to address some issues. And here in Perform IT, we find this way to bring this knowledge and share this knowledge with the audience, with everyone that would be willing to learn. And in today's episode, we have two very special guests. And let me introduce the first so we can start with the show. First is Asif Kalvani. Okay, first let me close the Siri because Siri has opened. So Asif Kalvani, a highly innovative, passionate and successful digital product manager with an entrepreneurial mindset, 5+ years of experience with product management, 16+ years of UI and UX design experience, and 7+ years of development experience in building applications and digital products with B2C and B2B space. Asif, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Philippe. Thanks for inviting me for this webinar. So just to tell you currently what I'm doing, currently I'm working for Siemens Financial Services. I'm a product lead there, and I'm a part of a B2B digital innovation department where we focus on new ideas within the Siemens Financial Services on a global level. And today topic is very interesting. I've dealt with this kind of time versus fixed price in the past as well. So I'm very excited to talk about it today.
All right. Thanks, Asif. As you can see, Asif has a very extensive experience in the topic, also passionate about building digital products. So I believe today we can really deep dive into it and have a nice conversation. So our second guest today in our show is André Paganucci. Yeah, André, welcome to the show.
Hello, Felipe. As you just said, my name is André. I'm one of the founders and CTO of Performa IT. I come from a software development career, but have been working more focused on project management since the creation of Performa IT 12 years ago. It's a pleasure to talk to you today and have the opportunity to share some of my experience regarding the contracting model for software projects I manage. I truly believe that there is no better solution when comparing fixed price and time and material models. In my opinion, there are factors that might help us decide which one to use and when. It always depends on the maturity level of the product as well as the mastery of the project scope and technology being used. I would like to show you some projects and situations that we have already gone through in Perform IT, as well as exemplifying these model choices.
Yeah, Andrea, thank you for being here. Guys, so today's episode, it's about the differences between fixed price and time and material, the forever battle, right? Always when we are planning a new project and we are speaking about a new idea that is coming, this question always comes to our minds, right? And I see some founders, I see some people coming to us, and usually, even though that they are aware of what is it, they're not really understanding the differences and when they should choose a fixed price for their project or a time and material. Usually when we say time and material, they say, whoa, time and what? Yeah, what kind of material? What time? What is going on? So, right. So basically, the difference is the fixed price is like when you buy something ready, right? When you buy I don't know, you go to the supermarket and you want to buy, I don't know, milk. You're not negotiating the price. You're not paying per milliliter. Well, actually, you pay per liter if you look at it, but it's a fixed price, right? And the time and material, it's something a little bit more flexible, right? The time and material is when the scope of your project, of your product is not defined, or maybe it's a little bit defined, just a bit, right? And you want to have more flexibility, not only with the scope, but also with the payment method, which is time and material. You pay more per hour than per the scope. And this is a really cumbersome subject. And if you guys allow me, I would share my screen first to go quickly through the main taboos. And when I say taboos, I mean these topics that people don't want to talk about too much, but it's very important. So this, what we're saying, is based on all of our experience, yeah, as Performait. And the first taboo is, let's see if this will work. Okay, the first one is only a fixed price is reasonable, right? The second one is all software should be developed under a fixed price contract. I've heard this many times. Another one, if I wanted to pay per hour, I would hire my developers. If I'm hiring a software agency, it means I want a fixed price, right? So really, it's very important because this creates friction between software agencies and buyers, right? And we don't want a friction. We want to build great products. We want to delight our users with amazing functionalities, and we want to help them with their jobs to be done, right? I think everyone here is aware of it. Well, next one, I can control my budget with a time and material contract. I've heard this many times, and that's partially true. Yeah, Asif and Andrea, they will speak a little bit about this, but if you have a good processes in place, it's possible to control the budget. Next, yeah, the software agency will take advantage of the customer with a time and material contract. This is a classic. This is a classic. How many times I was on the phone with potential customers and they said, I made a horrible mistake. I opened my budget to the software agency and now they will take advantage of me. I said, oh my God, no. That's very important. We need to share our budgets because if we think that we are being tricked, that's already wrong. We want to build a deep and truth relations between the buyers and the sellers. And the last one, time and material means unlimited budget. Yeah, this is also classic. Yeah, so it means that we don't worry about anything. Let's put 10 developers, let's put 5 designers, and let's just burn these hours, right? And that's not reality, right? So we need to address those issues. We need to bring to awareness what's going on. And guys, I'm very happy to have you guys with us today and to share your experience. And the way we'll do this, we have some cases here, and feel free to elaborate on the case. Feel free to speak what you think and what you believe our audience would benefit about it. All right. So let's start with the first case. This is a Asif one, right? This is a fixed price for a startup in the seed stage, right? And the goal of this project was, well, testing demand in the market. So it's a very straightforward, and a little bit of the context of how the client was preparing, right? And the client expectations. Asif, stage is yours. If you could share a little bit of your thoughts.
Yeah, this is a very common case where a lot of entrepreneurs have idea, but they don't have much market research, and they believe in their ideas and they think it's going to work. And of course, they're hesitant to spend a lot of money. So what they do is like they have a limited budget, and this project is really fit with this kind of scenario where entrepreneurs with a limited budget want to try it out, the idea. So in that case, I was a part of this project as well, and I have worked closely with the entrepreneur. So the idea was pretty, I would say, vague. Then it just came to us, and then as a part of the agency team, we analyze the idea and we understand the client budget. And based on the budget, we then suggested that what you can get out of that one. There was a bunch of different vague ideas, could be big ideas, could be small ideas. But of course, you have to gather everything and then you need to compile which fits under the budget.
When you say, Asif, sorry to interrupt. When you say vague idea, uh, could you just explain a little bit, like vague idea? What do you have in mind?
Yeah, for example, the idea what could be online booking as well, which is the next phase. The client wants something you can see some discounts price, but that discounts price can turn into a booking as well. So it could be the restaurants where you are looking for some happy hours dine-in or happy hours drinks as well, then it could lead to a booking as well. So of course, the client or entrepreneur sometimes have this idea that, okay, maybe I want all together under this solution, but then you have to really define the whole scope or whole goal, what can be done into this budget and what is the right approach towards it. So that's where the consultant like us comes into the scene, and we tell them that, okay, having a big vision is good, but you always have to take a careful measures towards the step-by-step process. So with this, with the less market research, like I say, they haven't spoken much to the users. The entrepreneur himself was very much into the happy hours deals. So that's actually lead them to believing that this idea was going to work, and then they have some sort of budget. But again, they were confused as either to go for web solution or mobile solution. They don't have much of this market understanding where exactly the customer lies and the use of this product would be. So that's something what we have undertaken with us, and we have understood the whole idea and the time and budget, because the time was also a concern as well. So the entrepreneur wanted to check it out, the idea within like a couple of months, very fast. So we have to have some cut corners in the UX processes as well, something we can't really go very long way to doing it on this. So very clear plan being laid out, and with that, actually, we have built the product. And this is, I would say, is the best example, because sometimes you don't know if that idea will work or not unless you launch it and then it reach to your customers or end users. And when they use it, then you start seeing the tractions. If the tractions are promising, then it's worth for you to go to the next phase, which is adding some more money and take it to the next level on this. But at this stage, I think it was flexible for our side as well as a consultant to know this is what are we going to build with the specific features within that budget side of that.
Okay. So if I understood correctly, the ideas were vague. There were not many interviews with users. So it was a vision coming from the founder, right? Strong vision based on his experience, most probably, and conversations he had with people around him. So if we could jump to the next one, and we could go to the outcomes a little bit, there is some pros and cons about that. Could you elaborate, Asif, why why the client in this case he wanted a fixed price? What was the reason driving his decision?
So I think it's just the idea being validated by friends and family. It was not a vast audience, and I would always suggest that your friends and families might be show some sympathy to your ideas. So it's not always a good practice to talk about your ideas to your friends and families. You always have to go with other audience which don't know you about, and you can get a more, I think, a clear feedback from them. And that was the part of the missing piece into this whole process. So the pros that I would say that application launch with a simple idea, very straight to the point, and every startup idea has to focusing on one main element of the whole idea, which whatever you're trying to focus, then other ideas can fit differently at a different stage of the product as well. So time and budget, we did not exceed. Everything went well. We launched the application with the features we agreed on. We thought that this could make a difference and could give us the whole idea that this product can go a long way or not. But like I said, the con was that the lack of user research, despite people like happy hours deals, but something what didn't fit about the idea was that people are not very pursue with this kind of happy hours, because happy hours during your office time as well, and that's something being missed out. That a lot of users are not allowed to leave your office hours to avail this happy discount. So there was a mismatch of the idea and the information, which did not make attraction, even though the idea was great, but I think it did not make much impact to the user, and hence I think the entrepreneur got his final, I think, the idea of this, that this will not gonna go a long way, just because happy hours conflict with the normal working hours user habit.
So if I understand what you're saying, even though the plan was set, yeah, the entrepreneur in this case, he wanted a fixed price. So product was exactly how he imagined, but then the product couldn't get the traction it was well intended to, right?
Yeah.
So if it was a time and material, or maybe with a little bit more budget, with one or two more releases, to play a little bit with the scope and listening more the users, maybe this could go, right? And I really like what you said, Asif, about that family and friends. They are really not a good way to go when testing. Yeah, this is gold. So guys and audience, listen to this that Asif just said. It's gold, right? So if you have an idea and you're going to families and friends, well, most probably you'll get a yes. Yeah, most probably they will say this is really nice. Uh, mm, well, you know how it goes, right? So yeah, this example is a classic example. So we can see that, especially for seed stage startups, having a fixed price might not be a good idea, because there's so many unknowns and we need really to understand what's going on with everything around us, right? And the users and user interviews, having more flexibility really makes sense. Asif, anything else you'd like to speak about this one, or you could jump to the next one?
No, I think we can jump to the next one. We have some more good examples to talk about.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving forward, now to André, we have a second case, fixed price for a multinational appliance industry. So I understand it's a big company. The goal is to develop custom software to replace an old industrial machine, controlling an integration system. Wow. And we have some context here. Old system discontinued. It was well documented and project scope well defined. Completely different, yeah, situation. And also, but we also have a fixed price here. So, André, stage is yours.
Okay. Thank you, Felipe. As you just said, the idea here is to develop a custom software to replace an old industrial machine controlling software that was responsible for controlling the machinery and export its stats to dashboards, display on TVs distributed all over our customer facility. The old system was being discontinued by its manufacturer, but every part of communication with the equipments was very well documented. So for those who want to continue making the integration with their own systems, our client didn't want to make any changes in the display dashboard, so the project scope was really well defined. We know what we need to do and we know how to do it. It was just a matter of coding the solution, testing it, and making it live, replacing the old one. With these points in mind, the decision for this case was to offer this customer a fixed price project with a predetermined scope and deadline. In my opinion, this is a great example of a perfect project for us to work with a fixed price, since we know in advance that we will not have scope variations, specification changes, or even changes in customer expectations.
And André, you said something interesting. How can we be sure that there will be no changes in the scope, right? Because I like this example because we bring the custom software development from the market to within house. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's an in-house application. This is very specific. Let's say the target audience is rather small, right? So, but
Yeah.
still there is a customer journey, right? Still you can measure KPIs. Still the UX and UI should be appealing. So there are many things that, well, characteristics that are shared between these two worlds: the startup world and the internal applications world. So there's two worlds there, but the line that split these two worlds, they sometimes blur, right? And of
Okay.
course, some things are very specific and some things are not. So let's have a look here. What was the output of it? So it was a success. So yeah, as you said, yeah, right. No scope variation. The specification changes, they didn't happen. So my question to you, Andre, is how can you be so sure that the scope will not change? And do you see a risk in this project here? How do you see this?
Okay. The main difference here from the first case that we're talking about, more than being an internal solution, is that we are just replacing a solution that already exists, and it's going to replace a software that was being discontinued, but with no changes in the outcome of the software. So the information displayed to the users are going to be the same. The user experience expected by the customer is the same. So that's why we know that we will probably have no problem with scope changing, since all the process and the user experience already exists, and it was okay for the customer. So we're just making a technical replacement. It's just we're changing the engine without changing the way we will drive it. So it's very clear to us that we're not suffering from scope changes or expectation changes during the project.
Mm-hmm. Well, I really like what you said of you're changing the engine, but you're not changing the way you drive the car, right?
Exactly.
So you keep driving the car. So I understand this as the more technical you get, the more predictable it gets, right? Of course, there might be exceptions. I see in your face that there are
Sure.
many
Yeah,
exceptions
yeah.
there, right?
There are many exceptions.
But I understand that the human nature. Now I'll get philosophical. It's more unpredictable than the logic of machines, right? So if you're replacing a system and you are not changing the usability of it, the KPIs, the business part of it, the business logic is the same. The value you're delivering to users, it's the same. It's validated. Nothing changes, and then a fixed price feels right.
Exactly, and it's really important to say here that the integration between this software and machinery that we're working on it, even being even requiring technical skills and being not so easy to make. It was very well documented by the machinery constructor. So it made us very easy to predict what what we're going to code.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. And before we jump to the next, there is one con here, which is the company lose the chance to innovate. But
Sure.
well, that's not always necessary, right? It's funny because we are all trying to innovate. This word innovation kind of lost his meaning because it's such a jargon everyone is using here and there. Yeah, not always innovation is needed, right? Sometimes performance is more important than the usability part. Cool. So let's jump to the other case. So we have today 6 cases in total, and back to Asif. So Asif, now we have a fixed price for a mature B2B internet solution.
Yes, this is very interesting. Fixed price for B2B intranet solutions. So I was a part of that company which was running the business from last 12 years. And back in that time, intranet was more preferred solution because the solution need to be hosted on the client server. And that was a solution. And in this modern world, this solution looks very outdated. And of course, there's new companies coming in with the cloud solution, and the company was under the threat after 11 years or 12 years of running a business. So I would say that it was a very interesting case. The cloud was the solution because all the data need to be stored somewhere in the cloud, so you don't have to host it manually or update your softwares manually, one client to another client as well. So the goal was very clear and the price was fixed, and the idea was to move from internet to cloud. And there's already a product owner was in the company, two or three developers were in the team as well. But of course, this plan was massive, so you need some additional help from outside. And the idea being was to hire an agency to fill the gap and go fast in the market, because time was also a main concern there. If they would hire someone internally to fill all this technologies solutions, providers, I would say that would take a year because recruiting always takes time, especially when you have to find some nice people in your team as well. So the best way is to go in the market, hire the agency who has this developers or team available who can assist you to reach there in a timely manner where you want to be. So the company has looked around for different agency, and then they finalize what agency when they feel comfortable. A couple of meetings held there, and we talk about the plan. Okay, this is what we want to do. We know our product very well. We know what our customers wanted. They are using our solution, but now we are about, but we need to use new technologies and new interface. So ideas were additional on top of what we have
Mm-hmm.
on the cloud as well.
Asif, wow, that's a lot of information there. It's this is a very complex case. If you allow me, I will try to sum up a
Yeah,
bit, and I will ask you to one explanation. So that's a cloud application, right, for a B2B. So it's an internal application. So you need to pass to the cloud. So I can assume that there was some performance issues, right?
yeah.
Correct. And you also said that new interface. What was the drive that started this project? Meaning, was more the infrastructure part, was the performance, or more people were complaining on how it looks like and usability? Which part was more heavy?
I think the part was the outdated technology. It was running with some Microsoft Silverlight, very old, I think, extensions, which Microsoft was about to discontinue. So company was under a big threat.
Ah,
If they wouldn't change the technology, the whole company would go down because it was relying on some old technologies, which Microsoft was not supporting that one as well. So that was one of the reason sales were
uh-huh.
going down. Sales people were having a big trouble selling the solution because their other solution in the market was more modern and good looking and more has a better user experience focused on that. So there's all these elements together was kind of a big challenge for a company to face it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you said the I think we can sum up very good. Sales were going down, right? So if you have that, this is a very red light for any organization, I would say. And what I really like of what you said, Asif, is and also the case that you brought. So first was a startup, so something new, right? And now a little bit similar to what Andrea was saying previously, but now it's more connected to the usability and performance. Well, technology gets old, and that's so fast, and
Yeah,
we all have to deal with it. That's just the reality. So there are new technologies coming when it comes to the programming languages. There are cloud solutions, different APIs, different libraries. Well, we could spend days, even weeks, speaking of all the possible changes that technology have been passing through and will pass through in the upcoming, well, decades, let's say, right?
yeah.
And this brings a different challenge to the table. How to keep updated on the technology side, which is not easy, right? Could we go to the output here, or would you like to give more context?
No, I think the context is like I said that everything was planned. They know how to get there and at what stage. The budget was set. They know how much they are going to spend. And all they just wanted to be validated that if that budget and the stage one plan matches, and if
Mm-hmm.
there's any plus minus in the budget, they can arrange. So that was only validation required. But I think they were fully mentally ready that we need to really
Mm-hmm.
less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what I also really like what you said, and this is gold. This is gold. Is uh, if you need to do something fast like this, trying to create a team by yourself, it's such a cumbersome thing to do. Yeah, you have to spend so much time. There is recruiting, and there is this, and there is that, and then you have to validate if the person fits to the organization, and you have to onboard, and then you have to do a bunch of things. So outsourcing IT, it makes sense in many situations, not in
Yeah,
all, but in
yeah.
some, right?
Yeah.
So outcome, uh, I can see that's a positive one, right? The
It
phase
is a
one was
positive.
executed, right?
Yes. So yeah, so phase one was to move to the cloud and have some minimum viable product. So within existing business, the idea was creating another MVP out of it. That what shall we achieve in this first MVP when we are moving from intranet to cloud? What features we can keep and what features we can bring later on. So that features which we have planned for initial users should at least target some different kind of segmented users, because that users could be accountant, CFO, CRO. There are different roles were involved who could use this product as well. So it was a very interesting project. So we just need to first understand that, okay, MVP will suit which segmented user or customer to it, and how we can then expand it to other users as well who use product in a different way. So that being achieved, and what we have done is that it was a full user study being conducted. Even the users, they were using the product, but the company hasn't spoken to them over last 9 years, so they don't know what is going on and what customers, what new things they want in the system. So that was a chance for the company to go back to the customer and understand, okay, we are planning this, how you want us to do something different for you, and using the modern technology, what other features we could bring it to make your, I think, the work life easier to use our product. So that was a good study being conducted, and the budget was allocated. It was very important to understand what really customer wants it. Again, even despite you have a running business, but that does not mean that you know everything about your user. You should always go speak to them and try
That's
to,
gold.
yeah,
Never assume you know everything.
never assume anything. And that was, I think it was a great success when we talked to our customers. A lot of new ideas came in, a lot of flexibility they wanted into the dashboards and other sections as well. So that was a good learning ground for us, and the budget was definitely allocated to understand what user wanted, take the study, and then we develop the rest of the feature on it. So we have divided between the flexible budget. So within a fixed price, we even have a flexible budget for the user study, because it might take some time to understand what user want, and then you have multiple workshops to extract the information out of it, that what exactly your users are saying. And then once you have this list of features which you prioritize that could go, then you put the fixed price on this to understand that how much time it will take you to develop. So that was a very interesting, I would say, overall, the project was, the scope was. And once we know what exactly we want to do, then we calculate the man hours on it, how much team we require, how many developers you need from our end, how much developers we need from external agency to combine and to be there. So with that, I think if you look at the pros, the release was as per the plan, it went, and the consulting company really saved the time, because the plan was to go in the market within 4 months and maximum 6 months. Imagine if you could hire these people to get this job, it would take at least 6 months for recruiting, another 6 months for you to build the product. So you're talking about 12 months, and in between, how much sales the company would be losing just to have this kind of approach. Sometimes you really have to think what you're gaining and what you're losing, and you have to take a decision based on that. So the con side, I will say, a little bit compromised, because the more weight put on the user research, not the user design side of that one. So I will say that not a lot of time being given and validated the design with the user, and that's something, a little bit of hypothesis being applied to as well. So that's the con part, I would say, that the overall design was not very modern, but it was functional.
The basic part was done.
Yes, but now the design is also very important as a part of the modern products, because all the products not just looks beautiful as well, but they have to have some user experience elements into that applied to it. The labels, the colors, the icons you use, everything really matters into creating such a nice, beautiful product which works for user as well. And that was the only lacking part, I would say. Did not go well, and time frame was here and there in between, but again, it was not too much exceeded, I would say. And but I would say the overall, the project was a successful project for the company, and they achieved what they wanted.
Even fixed price, right? This
Even
is
if
super cool example because we can show here that depending on the situation, depending on the cards you have on the table, a fixed price might work, right? So if you could, Asif, look at this case today now, uh, what was this one thing or these maybe two things that makes this a success, even being fixed price?
I would say that the UI design could be more improved and validated if the customer could have wait for it to validate with the users, just to understand the way that there was a financial product, so the charts and the graph
Financial.
numbers. Yeah, so it's a very it's kind of a project which really matters to the users what you're showing to them. The graph could be pie chart, graph could be bar chart, but that's something, a decision you can't take by yourself. Sometimes you need to be more specific what user really want to see, this information and what kind of information. So I think that part of validation of UI design was not there. And I would say that if that would have a little bit added into the time frame of the project, and also the budget would little bit flexible towards it, it would be a great success, because then you will not only have a product what user wanted, but a great looking product with a great functionality included into that one. So
Okay, so you believe that a time and material price in this case would give this extra mile, this extra leverage, right? This like the how you call it, this cherry on the top of the cake, right? That sometimes makes the whole difference. Um, and what about the scope? Because there was a planned roadmap. The scope was the previous one exactly, so there was no change in the scope. Am I correct?
no, the scope was not changed.
Aha.
So it's just the interesting part, like I said, the flexible budget within the fixed price, the flexible budget was more towards the usability, because that's the more core information you need to extract. You need to understand what are we going to build modern way. But then once you extract it, then the development cost is very much like a calculated manly hours on it.
If you could, Asif, explain to the audience, because they might not be aware of this, how can you have a fixed price and within it some flexibility? How do you manage this?
So let's say it's like the company is a profitable company, and they do have some budget allocated for refactoring the whole application on it. So I would say I can't give you the real number, but let's say they have 1 million Swedish
Okay,
kronor to spend on it.
thought experiment.
Let's go with the example of this one. So of course, with this one, you go with agency and you need to be transparent. This is our budget. We can go a little bit plus or minus in between, but we can't exceed to that, because this is what our CFO has allocated for this project as well. So with this one, when agency look at the budget and what you want to achieve out of this, of course, there's some kind of initial plan laid out of it. Okay, these are the estimated hours we can do for user research, and these are the estimated hours we can do on the development side of it. But overall, the I think the goal is not to exceed the budget, and also try to focus on the features which your users really wanted. But what your user really wanted, that's what we will figure it out in the user research part of it.
Aha. Okay, now I got it.
Exactly. So that's why it's like maybe 60% could go to the user research, and then the 40% of the budget we can allocate for development. So it's really much was a choice for a company to really understand what the user really wanted on those sides. But might be that would be another way around, that 40% they want to allocate or being spent on the user research, because the company already know what their customer wants. Is just additional interviews and more modern way of extracting the data out of it, prioritize with the internal product owner. Do this exercise needs some time as well. So there's no fixed hours you can really say that, okay, we're going to spend X number of hours for all these things, because you never know how much time you need to spend to access the user. Users interviews could be longer, internal workshops could be longer as well. But once this information you have out of it, you turn into a user stories, then it's very easier for the Scrum Master to look into that and tell you that, okay, this type of features would take X number of hours. Then you can be a little bit go up and down with the hours, but at least it's not like completely going out just like way you have planned for user research. So it's like two different approach, and it's two different tactics you apply, and that's how you get your result. But this is a very interesting case where you handle such type of fixed price, and then you understand what your client wanted out of it, and then you plan the budget based on it, where you want to put money more into and where you want to put less money into in that. So it could differ.
Be creative, yeah. Be creative within the budget,
Yes.
and never assume you know everything about a user. Really, really like what you said.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving forward, we have a case number 4, and now it's a time and material for a large retail company. André?
Okay. For the second case that I'm bringing you, I'll bring up here a product master data maintenance software that was specifically made for one of our customers, a large toys retailer here in Brazil. We helped them to create more than just a software solution, but to define all the process of product master data maintenance within the company. Since they work with a large variety of different products and need to maintain the details of each one of them in a reliable but simple way, this project was such a great challenge for all Performa IT areas, starting from our design team to our software development experts. The scenario was the process was being built and tested while we're working on the software behind it. So there were a lot of uncertainties and assumptions that would need to be validated. This way, how could we estimate the software project so assertively to get a fixed price budget? The choice here so was to work with a fixed squad size, with fixed monthly costs, but with the scope being defined and prioritized with the client during the project journey, with focus on delivering value in a continuous way, but without having to constantly deal with price negotiation for each change we faced during the solution design, development, and testing.
Okay, so if I understand, this product didn't exist before. It's not like asset example that you're trying to update something that was there. And when you say product master data maintenance, what exactly is the like how they are measuring the success of this? I can imagine some warehouse with shelves and toys, and is that what we are talking about?
Not exactly. The idea here is to make easily for the product team of the company to register the new projects they're being launched. We have tons of new toys launched every year, so it was a really hard process of registering these new products. Sorry, there's no products inside their e-commerce and their systems, because there are a lot of systems inside the company. They must register every detail of the toy, because when you're going to its e-commerce to look for a toy, you have to see everything that the toy does, how it looks like, the size, the kind of toy, the collection it belongs to. So there are a lot of characteristics of this project. There is very interesting to have filled when we are going to look for it in the e-commerce. And there are a lot of how can I say details that is needed to be filled in order to invoice this product correctly here. What how can I say? There are a lot of details that need to be filled. So it's a really hard process involving a lot of areas of the company. So more
if I
than
understand,
just create the software.
Just to see if I understand, I think now I understand. So the company is producing new toys, right? And to insert these toys among all the systems, there is marketing, there's finance, there is the stores, there is, well, all the network of departments and systems. And the company didn't have any process to make it efficient. right?
Exactly.
And I assume that this company could not go to the market and take a software ready for the shelf because they are so specific. It's so their processes are so unique. Yes,
They
that building a
already
custom
have a lot of
software,
softwares.
that they already
Have a
had
lot
a lot of software. So you need to do something
software.
that is connected to all of those. All right.
Exactly.
So scope, there was no scope. There was
No,
just like,
because we're not just in create the software. We're just creating the entire process. So the process we're being built,
the
not
process
just the
itself
software.
didn't exist. Okay.
Exactly. We're creating a new process of registering this new toys inside their softwares, their already existed softwares.
Okay. So if I understand, the initial drive that started this was not like let's build a software, was let's solve a
No.
problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, I
Let's
really like
improve
it.
this
I really
process.
like it. And then you can use software, of course, to improve a process. There are many ways you
Exactly.
can improve a process. Software is one of them. And I understand here that so many uncertainties. Well, there's just a problem to be solved, but you don't know exactly how it will look like and everything. Going fixed price here, I think it's a shoot on your foot,
Completely insane.
right? Completely
Sure.
insane, and it will hurt. Well, all the quality that would like to deliver here, right? So
Exactly.
if you allow me, let's jump to the outcome, and I guess it's a positive outcome, right?
Yeah, it was really positive. The software was made in a really good time. The process was really improved for the entire company, for all the areas. We reduced the time required to register a new product from a week to 2 or 3 hours.
Oh, wow. So I can imagine that there were savings in other processes, so you can transform those savings into financial gains
Sure.
and perhaps increasing sales. Who knows how you can measure that? Because well, where building software, I believe that you should, or if possible, that's not always possible, translate what you're doing into financial gains. Because the at least in my experience, in the first view, software always looks very expensive in the first view. But if you look really into the details and how it can help your organization, the return over that investment could really get 2x, 3x, 4x that investment, right? Great. So in this case, time and material was a good choice. And Andrea, correct me if I'm wrong, but you didn't even think about fixed price here, right? It was not even a
No, it was
never.
possible. Never.
Uh-huh.
We
Okay.
we know that the process didn't exist, and we are going to build a software over something that is being built at the same time. So it was completely impossible to think on fixed price for this project.
Okay. All right. So guys, we have more 10 minutes, and we have two cases, one of each, plus the challenge that I have for each of you as well. So are we going to the cases or are we going to the challenge? That's a difficult question. So, well, maybe we could do like that. Let's quickly go to the case number 5, right? So this is a time and material for early stage startups. Um, and this is for Asif. And if we compare it to the first one, which was a fixed price,
Yeah.
is it somehow similar, Asif? Because if we can try to do this in like 2 minutes,
Yeah.
I don't want to compromise the content. I just would like to push what we have to the time frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me tell you very quickly. So the early stage was the seed round where the entrepreneur is putting their own money into that. And Series A funding is the startup where they raise the investment from external VCs as well. So this idea was a little bit different. They have raised the investment and now they wanted to again build a team. And building a team again is not that easy. So they have offshore team where they have hired the entire developer team as well, and they were running an agile environment where they have the daily stand up as well. So this was another good example is where the time and material where you have flexibility with the money. You can spend in, you know what you wanted, you have a team from your end who can prioritize the backlogs, and you just tell the developer what needs to be done. So you have a full control on your side and you know what you wanted. You just find the right team who can deliver what you are seeking as well. And that's a good example in Sweden. There might be lack of developers and it's not easy to find it. So most of the companies, they do offshore such type of team solutions there. So that's a good example. I would say everything was planned. They know what they want. They have a proper backlog in place. They have an agile process in place. So that was the I think the scope of the project. And if you come to the outcome of it, I would say everything is running very smoothly there. Uh, the product is going as planned. They're getting new customers. All teams are involved: sales, marketing, customer support. They all are happy with the progress because it's a fast-paced environment. Every 2 weeks they have some new release. They also have some user experience design team who validate the ideas, and customer support also. And they also have a customer success manager who validates the idea as well. So everything is running very smoothly, I would say. But yeah, again, going that much fast pace sometime burns down your time and money as well, and that's something what company is doing. There are some methods like double diamond or triple diamond or dual track agile, which is not being followed. So that's one of the reason I would say the cons is that going too fast sometimes can burn your time and money. So yes, you have to be very careful. Releasing features in a bulk does not mean a success for your product. You must always have a time to validate as well, or unless you have dual track agile running parallelly, which can at one side can validate the ideas and at the same time you are development.
Okay, Asif, just to explain to our audience, they might not be aware of what is dual track agile.
Dual track agile is very popular concept now. If you search on Google as well, there's plenty of articles and diagrams. So it's one side, the team of UX is running the whole process. They are in constant touch with your users, and they are pre-preparing the requirements for you, pre-validating everything for the development purpose. So once everything being validated through the one track of the process, then the next stress is that you create this feature and deliver it. So that the two different tracks. So first, UX is always ahead of you. They already know what is happening, what your customer wants. They validate quickly through the wireframes, prototypes, and when this information being validated, then they pass on to the development, and it's ongoing process is going on, which is quite getting popular around the many different product companies as well. It's a very challenging, I would say, but I think there's
The
still
logistics, yeah.
yeah, because still getting hold on the users is a very time-taking part on it. And but despite with that one, a lot of companies has created a pool of users as well. The big giants companies, they have their specific users, they have their pool which they access for what type of testing they want it. But now mid-sized companies also trying to adapt this solution as well. It's been a bit challenging to get your users gathered together and have their commitment with you for this kind of testing you want it time to time. But I think it's getting very popular day by day in most of the product or tech.
It's like having two teams working back and forward, right? One focus on UX research, and the ideas that are more promising goes into development. And this is an ongoing process, not only in the beginning of the product, but an ongoing issue, right?
Exactly.
Right. So guys, if you're listening to this, search in Google right now, dual track agile, how to make it happen. And if you need a help, just call us. You have Asif, you have Andrea, and have me. And I just got a call, a special message from our producer, and he said we have more 15 minutes. That's amazing. I'm very happy about that. So we could go into the next 3 slides. And there's one thing, Asif, that you said. In one side, it's his own money. Yeah, that, like you said, the Series A, so it is early stage. But at the same time, you said he was outsourcing development. Why he didn't choose to hire his or hers own developers in this case?
Yeah, so it's not a one person, it's a startup company. So Series A, when it comes in, then it forms a whole company where you have the board of directors, VCs as a board of directors. They take a seat to plan the future of the company as well. So of course, like I said, that shortage of the developers in some markets and also finding the right talent, it's a very long process. Uh, so with that, if you are just spending time in recruiting something, then you are not delivering something to your customer. So of course, the fast pace is always hire the offshore team who's available, who has the talent available, who can start next week or 2 weeks or a month after that one. So that was a choice for a company that, and also in terms of some from price factors as well, having paying salaries in Sweden, it's a little bit, I would say, expensive rather than if you offshore to some other part of the Europe or Asia as well, where you find a little bit more, I would say, better price, where you can have more developers and still
So
they're talented.
outsourcing, offshoring, if done right, can really help the process, right?
Exactly.
And nobody will trick anyone like these taboos that we were listening in the beginning.
You, yeah, just if you pay them a full-time salary rather than the working like per hour rate, then it's make a difference because you own the team. You're paying the monthly salary. So they give you the performance, you run the agile, you have a daily stand-ups, you know what is going on, you have your Jira board running or GitLab board is running. Every day you move tickets from one to another, you know what is happening in your system. So nothing could be cheated or could go wrong, you know. So that's the way I think you should work remotely with the tight integration and communication with the team, so you know what is happening, where your money is going, are you getting any results or not. And now because of pandemic as well, everybody has moved to remote, and it's a more better choice now to work remotely as well. So now you should be out from this boundary of working within your own country. You have to explore different regions as well and try to find some better teams who are available for you to cater any type of technology products you have or challenges
and
you have.
then and then you can add sometimes the topic of time zones,
Yeah.
right? But if we go to this topic, then we'll stay really the whole week here. But offshoring, there are some people say nearshoring, but yeah, for closer locations. But I truly like what you said, that nowadays with the remote situation that everyone is living and working, passing through, having this chance, this possibility yet to just have more options is it's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it opens so many possibilities. So yeah, and here time and material, back to the subject, right? I can't imagine other way, especially for this open scopes and we don't know what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
The fixed squad, the alternative, this is something here that we are doing in Performait to try to decrease this risk, right, of being only on fixed price or do the other side, which is time and material. And Andre, if you allow me to quickly explain, right, what the
Sure.
squad means. So here in Performait, what we do is that we do a fixed price only for the sprint, only on the sprint. So we deliver that sprint on a fixed price, and during this time we can learn and pass this learning to the second sprint. So we do small fixed prices, but the overall is time and material. So it's a little bit what Asif was saying before. So this hybrid between having a total fixed budget, right, but still being flexible on the meantime is one way of doing it. And another way of playing with the numbers is you can also be fixed price in one sprint. And then the client can be sure that he will get those functionalities that were planned on that specific sprint. So if you keep doing that sprint by sprint, but adapting between sprints, that's the magic, right? We could stay like here 10 hours speaking about this. So if we can even do a completely whole episode about this. But let's jump right into the fixed price or time and material. Case number one for Asif. So Asif, you are a founder with a business background. You have an investor also with a business background. You cook terrific muffins and wants to sell them online. Your brother has a website with massive traffic, visited precisely by the audience that likes muffins. Instead of choosing a traditional e-commerce channel, you have an idea to create a button, send a muffin to a friend on your brother's website. By clicking in this button, the person is transferred to your new website to choose the muffin's flavor, write a short message to be printed in a card that goes with the muffin, and choose the friend's address for delivery. The payment would be directly on your new web page. You wrote a one-page text-only description for this MVP, and you are looking for developers to make it happen. Fixed price or time and material?
Well, I will choose a fixed price.
Questions.
I will choose a fixed price, and for reason is that if I have a knowledge, if I don't have a knowledge about how many users or like muffins, what flavors they like muffins, then of course I'll put my bet on the fixed price just to analyze what is the response from the market when they want to order it online.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Even if not knowing how the usability will look like on your website.
Yes, because if, like I said, selling muffins online digitally, if I don't have any previous research on it, I don't know if others are doing it or not. With that information missing, I would not put my bet on the time and material on this. I would rather go with the fixed price and just to see that if this idea really can succeed for me or not.
Okay. So you would use it just for testing, but you not put all your tips. Okay, no. Good. There's no right or wrong answer. This is just a case. It's a real one. It's a real one. But it's very interesting to know what you think. So now, André, just to finish. So the case is you are a founder with a business plus IT background. Okay, you already sold 2 startups. Your co-founder and CTO has extensive IT background and designed the whole software architecture and backend. Your sister built a prototype in a PowerPoint. It's not professional, but conveys the message of what the product is. You haven't tested the prototype with users. You don't have user stories either, or you don't have a customer journey, only the PowerPoint prototype, and the best tech founder you can ever imagine. You're looking for a designer and a front end to work on together with the CTO and build the MVP. Do you go fixed price or time and material?
I'll probably go time and material here. Since I have the business knowledge and I'll have to write the stories yet. I don't have the stories written, so it's probably really hard to have a fixed price for a project where I don't have my stories written yet. So I'll probably go with time and material since I have the business knowledge, the IT knowledge. I have all the architecture being made in-house. So probably time and material will be the best choice here. And I'll hire the designer front end to work with our CTO. And since he knows and he has an extensive IT background, he'll probably know how to make this team deliver values in the shortest time as possible.
Especially because you haven't tested the prototype, right? And many things might change.
The prototype was not tested. The stories were not being reading yet. So
okay. Well, I hope that was a little bit fun. Yeah, let me stop the recording here. And I want to really thank you, Asif and André, for participating on the first episode, right, of Performa Nation. Because we are a nation, we want to make you successful. We want to make you succeed on your product development. We want to avoid all the pitfalls that other people did in the past. And we want you to be the best product owner and that you can ever be. So we want also you to go out each and every day and delight your users. So thank you very much and see you in the next episode. Bye.
Thank you guys.
Bye-bye.